Well, you see, I have been in the hot waters before, and I have been personally convicted before, of course, ridiculous charges. Do you know that I am the first Canadian citizen in the history of this country to be convicted in inciting mischief? And what did I do? When I came to Coutts, the roads were open. Not once I said block the roads. When I left, the roads were open. I simply said to the Canadians, stand for your rights. God and state given rights. Paralyze the system. It didn't mean block the streets. It meant do it the solidarity style. That's what I said. That's why I was wearing the hoodie. I was referring to what I saw with my own eyes. And you know how the solidarity movement won the right? They just refused to work for the villains. That's what I was talking about. That's what I said. You can interpret whatever you want. You mainstream media are such a pathological liars. You said that I was inciting violence, even though 3 times during my speech I said repeatedly, no guns, no swords. I'm not advocating violence. I am against violence. I have never been charged with violence. I have never been charged even with assault. I don't advocate for that, but I do advocate to stand up for God and state given rights. Because if we don't have rights to protest, we have no rights whatsoever.
That's right.
All right, we're talking now with Artur Pawlowski, who was just convicted of 3 offenses. Now, the Critical Infrastructure Defense Act is sort of in limbo while the constitutionality is being challenged. I got to say, I was sort of surprised. I thought that this was a long shot by the government, but they scored all 3. Are you surprised?
Well, of course, Ezra, I wish that this ordeal would be over. But hey, we have been doing those rodeos before, and I guess it's another step up. So as much as I would like this to go away, I'm looking forward to the next step, because every step of the way exposes their corruption, exposes how hateful of a people they are, that they don't care about our rights and freedoms. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about the Criminal Code of Canada. If a pastor can be convicted criminally for just giving a sermon, encouraging people, hey, stand up for your rights, but do it peacefully. You're next, Ezra. And any politician, now think about it, this is an election in the province of Alberta. Now if a politician goes out there and says something that the government doesn't like, he might be inciting something.
That's what was odd to me. We had a 2-day trial in February, or a couple months ago, and then we had the judge go through an hour's worth of reasoning, and it all looked very Canadian. He's a Canadian judge with the Alberta coat of arms on the wall, and it's the legal system we're familiar with. But if this were in China or Iran or North Korea, if a Christian pastor was on trial and convicted for a crime, I think we would say that's a political prisoner. I think we would be shocked by it. Is your faith in the Canadian system shaken at all?
Well, of course it is, but like I said, this is not my first time that injustice has been done, because don't kid yourself, this is a great injustice. I've seen this growing up behind the Iron Curtain under the boots of the Soviets. So what I'm saying is we must keep plowing. We have to keep fighting. We must do it peacefully. We must use every legal means that we have at our disposal. But also we have to understand that something shifted. In the past 3 years, something changed. It feels less like a democracy and more like a totalitarian police state.
What interactions have you had with other organizations? Rebel News has been covering your case, and we've been helping to crowdfund your lawyers. I see today Global News was here. I think the CBC was here. And they certainly got a negative reaction from your supporters here. What has been the coverage of your case here by the other media? Have they been fair, or have they been in the tank for the prosecution?
No, they sided with the prosecution from the very beginning. They accused me on the mainstream for months that I was inciting people to commit acts of violence. As you know, the Crown Prosecutor compared my peaceful sermon to the truckers on the private property. I was not in the middle of the highway. I was not blocking anything. I was in a private setting, on the private property, telling people to stand up for the rights. And he compared that peaceful sermon to Rwanda genocide, to someone that was inciting murder, to commit murder on somebody else. So the mainstream media is following that rhetorics. I have been compared to a hateful person, white supremacist, racist, all kinds of different things were thrown at me. And one of the biggest ones was that I was inciting people to commit acts of violence, which of course is such a lie from the beginning to the end. But it looks like they can get away with a murder. Literally, they can get away with a murder, and we cannot expose that murder, because if you do, you're the hater, you're the bad guy.
You know, I was talking to your lawyer, Chad Haggerty, earlier today. He said that he had a client who's a bank robber and was convicted and literally got probation, which means no jail time. You've already served, I think, 52 days in jail. I find that very out of sync that an actual violent bank robber gets no jail time. You've done 52 days.
No, not only that, Ezra, I am still on house arrest. So 12 hours a day for over a year now, since I was released in the end of March. Since that last year, I'm on a house arrest. Therefore, I'm still detained from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. That tells you everything. So I served already like 7-8 months.
Well, I mean, I find it incredible that you have the resilience to put up with this, because, I mean, just since we've been helping you, I think you've had close to 20 court appearances, and you've had 100 before that, and you get convicted, and then you won on appeal, and you were convicted today, but we got the constitutional challenge. So how do you not give in to the fatigue? I mean, I'm tired just listening to it. I mean, I'm not out of steam myself. I know what motivates me, but I'm not the guy in legal jeopardy here. How do you find the strength to be defiant, to lean into the hurricane? Because there's unlimited resources on the government side. It's a Goliath. Now, you've got a lot of Davids chipping in $20, $50 at SaveArthur.com. So you've been able to match Goliath step by step. But just from a personal point of view, don't you ever get tired?
I'll tell you two things that are keeping me going. First is my family, my wife and my children. Think about it. I'm doing this for them. What kind of a nation they're going to have tomorrow if a man like me will not stand up and fight? Especially a man that have seen this before. A man that grew up as a kid under the boots of this totalitarian, crazy regime called communism and socialism. And of course, Ezra is my faith, my God. He keeps me going. In the Bible, it says that you have to stand up for what's right, even if it costs you. So this is my price for humanity, I guess, to pay. And I'm willing to pay it. It's tiring. I would be a liar if I would say to you, yeah, it's a beautiful, nice, rosy ride. No, there are thorns. But I am willing to do it. Why? Because I have 3 beautiful children. And I have many more in the church. People that are suffering, people that are crying, people that have lost hope. What they need, what Canada needs, what Alberta needs is a courageous man or a woman that was willing to stand up and say, you know what, I will stand against the giants of today. I will be your David. God, if you want to use me, I wouldn't use me. But if you want to use me, here I am, Lord. Use me. Give me the smooth stone. Give me the slingshot. Give me the stick. And I'm willing to take down the biggest giant that this country has ever seen.
Well, we'll see how that goes, because there's another showdown looming with the constitutional challenge. Listen, nice to see you today.
Thank you so much, Ezra.
And we'll stay in touch in the months ahead. And I don't think months, I think this will be years before it's done.
It could be. Well, I'm ready. I said to my lawyers, take this please all the way. Whatever it takes, how long it takes, I am at your disposal. I'm at your service, just like I am at the service of Albertans in this election that we are in the middle of. And we'll keep plowing and see what the future holds.
All right. Well, we had planned to talk to Arthur's lawyers, Chad Haggerty and Sarah Miller, but given the fact that this matter is very live, that there is at least a constitutional challenge and a sentencing hearing, that this is nowhere near done, both lawyers said to me they thought it would be inappropriate for them to give political commentary before that's done. So we're going to skip talking to them, but I have your report that you have instructed them to fight on.
Yes.
So we'll wrap up our show today. I'm glad I came to Lethbridge. I feel like this story is not resolved, and we will have many more court appearances left. It is so clear that the rule of law is damaged when a bank robber can go on probation and you serve 52 days, when truckers get jailed for honking horns, but the public sector union honks horns and they get a $1 billion pay raise.
You know, I just posted something on my Twitter comparing what happened in Ottawa to what is happening in Ottawa at the Parliament right now. I mean, the same thing. People have flags, they have banners, and they are opposing the government. We were opposing the government. We got hammered. They are getting the raise.
It's incredible. Well, we'll keep telling all these stories and more at rebelnews.com. And for those of you who want to chip in to Pastor Arthur's legal defense, go to savearthur.com. And as you know, that defense is being carried out by the Democracy Fund, which is a registered charity at arm's length from Rebel News. So, in fact, you will actually receive a charitable tax receipt for your gift. That's it for today. On behalf of all of us at Rebel News, from Lethbridge, Alberta, to you at home, goodbye, and keep fighting for freedom.